Greetings, dear, precious, magnificent, beautiful, sweet, innocent, yet intelligent spirit soul that you are. When we know who we are, we also know all things are possible to us, all talents, all abilities. That's why you don't put your faith in this and that and this and that. It's within you who you are, because we're part of source that is the source of all, you see. Everything has a source. And when we get how we're being sourced or we're being empowered, it isn't about giving my power outside, but I also acknowledge and recognize where those teachers, those people, friends, family, whoever they are, that contribute to us in a loving, powerful way, just as we're contributing to them in a loving, powerful, and generous way. You see, this is how we build our friendships and such, because we're mutually empowering. And why this is really important, and my topic is this: when silence is most enriching and empowering. When silence is most enriching and empowering, because when we always telling people what we're going to do, it doesn't happen that we do it usually. Because we're more interested in letting other people know we're okay. We're somebody. We're great. We can do it. We're fabulous. Because it's actually basically a lack of faith in oneself. And you can really see, and I remember this is when I wrote my first book, and I had some great help too, because I always say, if I'd known I was going to be an author of books and a writer, I would have paid attention in English class. But it was great. I had a great time. But, I didn't know a participle from a thing, adjective. Those things, because I'm a really right brain person. And, you'd have to know all this kind of stuff. So anyway, when silence then, is really, really important, is that when I realized so many things I did it because I wanted to get somebody to like me, to appreciate me, to think I was okay, to all of these, say nice things about me. Forget it. If people are in their mind, they can like you one moment and hate you the next. They can say a nice thing or not a nice thing, because it's like the mind is feeding nastiness a lot, you see. That's why you have to control that mind and actually activate your divine mind, which is your divine consciousness, which is heart-centered, you see. It comes from truth, but it's also intelligent, because you observe and know what's going on, because you have activated your awareness rather than being run by the mind and programming that clouds everything. You have clear thinking, because clarity is power. But this silence thing. So when I wrote my first book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, what I did, I had the title for 6 years. 6 years. I got it in a class I was teaching, Positive Thinking for Women Only, in Whittier, California. And one of the women there said, her psychiatrist or somebody said to her, well, don't worry, what they think of you is none of your business. She said, really? And she started thinking, so she said that, and then I thought, well, what you think of me is none of my business. And it was like, it's such a great book, you see, and you can get it out there. But I was always telling people about the title for 6 years. I'm writing this book. I'd never written one word. And when I realized after 6 years I don't have a book, it's because I didn't write it. But I was telling everybody I was writing it because I was getting there. Oh, wow. Oh, you must be great. It's always building, it's PR, building perception in their mind about I'm really fabulous over here. Why? What are you doing? You see. And when we do that and tell other people, we disperse our energy. Plus, you bring up stuff in other people. You could bring up envy, jealousy, hatred, resentment. They don't want you to be happy. They don't, or they'll just put you down a little bit because they're afraid if you do that, then they won't, because this is the mind. And the mind is dominating people's lives. And even when you know it's the mind is still there. It's going to work on it. It's going to do it. It's going to fix you. And there, I'll show you, there's ways you do that, how you do this. But anyway, one of the keys is you get to the level of being an observer and a witness in a neutral kind of a place, where you're in your heart, but you're not letting yourself get jerked around by what's going on and what's happening. You stay in the bliss. That's my book, Live Your Bliss. That's what how you do that. So anyway, when silence is good, a lot of times, because even when you say words and stuff, most people don't forget that. They don't know they're just sounds and words. I feel fortunate I've been called every kind of filthy, nasty name you could ever believe ever existed. From whoever, whatever, and every wonderful, glorious, beautiful name that you could ever. Hi, just keep going. I hope I'm not interrupting. You're so sweet. Come on by. Yeah. Oh, stop.
She's in a rhythm. We didn't want to mess up your rhythm.
It's great. Yeah. Oh wow, that was fun. So when silence then is really powerful is when you take that, what you're going to do. Say if you're doing your work out there, you know where you need to do things. You know where your heart is. You know what needs to be done. You don't have to have a committee. You don't have to go to the county thing, the city council to have to give you permission. There'd be this and doing that. Do your work. Keep silent. Don't be looking for glorification. See, you get stuck whenever you want something. You see, how you get stuck in things, you got to have it. So then you see, when you're in that neutral position, you see, you stay centered in your heart. You're centered in divine intelligence. And when I then decided, I stopped telling people that I was writing the book. And then I did my visualization of seeing myself signing autographs. My book was completed. Getting that feeling, how would I feel? So setting it up for the result and the imagery and all that. So don't image what you don't want, you see. And the silence then is to also, a lot of things don't need to be said. And I remember that was the problem with alcohol. And that alcohol stuff was like such a poison. And it's like because whatever the mind was saying, we believed it was true. And the drama and the craziness and all of this stuff was wild. Unbelievable. And so that was then the mind had taken over and controlled, you see. So silence often is important when you're going to do something or build it. Don't be blabbing it. When you do need something to be done, you'll know what to do in this, and then when it's ready, and then when it's done, and then when it's happening, share it with people so that they can enjoy it, and they can have it, and they can do it. But when you're just throwing it out, take a look at what your motive is, what you want them to think you of. You want them to believe you're this and that, because your identity then is based on what they think of you. And what you think of me is none of my business. What I think of you is none of your business, but actually it kind of is, because I'm not thinking about, I'm knowing about you and who you are. And these are the kind of people you want to have around you. But here, and then you can maybe share it with a person, but you have to know a lot of people, they have their issues because they believe the mind. And you want to keep things sacred and secret within you, and let that joy of your own being, so that you don't offer up what they would call pearls before swine. Not that pigs are bad, I'm not saying that, but the pigs don't eat pearls. They don't. There's no point. You see what I'm saying? And these pearls of wisdom, let them grow. You activate. It's like when somebody says, oh, I'm going to quit. I'm going to be different. No, they're just talking it because they're not doing it. When you do it, you don't talk it, you see, because it's done by what you do. And that's in relationship or anything else. People can be saying, but what really are they doing? What's really happening, you see? And that's what we want to, as we keep silent. It isn't, and even if no one else is really being true to themselves, you are, because it's really only about you. And then when it's about you truly being who you are, then it's really about all of us, because in one sense, each of us becomes one less person to be harming others or animals. One fewer. And then we share that and help others. It's like you're building your own world, your own reality, instead of living in someone else's reality being built through the mind that is diseased, you see. It's based on dis-ease, lack of comfort. It's based on continual anxiety and fear. So the silence then is also the silence of your meditation, the silence of deep breathing, just being in the breath, being in nature, being in the silence and listening to the birds and tuning back in, and with your shoes off, sitting on the earth, never on a chair. I sit on the floor most all the time because I could do my yoga, you see. I sit cross-legged. I'm limber. See, we do have it all. So keep those, what you're doing, that thing you're working on, let it build inside. Let it be there. That's what and then you do your stuff, you see. Yeah, do the work within. Mm-hmm.